Hello, everyone. I know I said I wasn't going to do movie reviews per se, but I got to talk about this one because it's happening a lot with movies. And that is a movie setting a premise but not really using it. And that happened with The Purge. Now, off the bat, this will be spoiler heavy. I will talk about the details of the plot. So, if you haven't seen the movie yet, cut the video off. Maybe watch this. Maybe listen to me talk after you've seen the movie, or at least read the spoilers or whatever. Or if you just don't care about spoilers, then by all means listen to me rant here. Actually, it's not so much a rant because the movie wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. It was definitely passable. But that's the thing, is that it was just passable. It was an average movie at best. It didn't really stand out. Nothing about it's gonna strike a memory like, oh yeah, you remember that part in that movie? The only thing that happened that I could really remember that's really gonna stick out in my mind is something at the end. But I've seen that a dozen times that it's not going to be a unique time that it happened. So, anyways, for those of you who don't know about this movie, it's about basically it's the year's 2022. America had like another revolution of some sorts, and we have like these new founding fathers that decided to make this one 12-hour period where basically every crime is legal. So murder, rape, theft, yada yada yada, it's all legal. And it centers on this family, and the father of them, played by Ethan Hawke, basically designed security systems, and he sold them left, right, and center, and it's made him really, really rich. And he has a wife played by the chick that plays Cersei in Game of Thrones, and then they have their two kids, who neither one of them really stand out to me as anything special, anyways. But basically, everybody goes into a lockdown, or they go on their own little purge hunt where they hunt down people that they don't like, or they just have that urge just to kill somebody, just anybody, whoever they can get their hands on. And it also acts as a means for the rich to get rid of the poor. Basically, people that aren't contributing to their, I guess, glorious society. Basically, get rid of the chaff from the wheat. Um, Now, the problems with this movie isn't the premise. The premise was great. I thought it was brilliant. It almost had like the Brave New World or Fahrenheit 451 type of premise, the dystopia where everybody is under the impression that they're happy, but really they are just miserable because the world is shit right now. Um, and the idea behind it is that this purge has dropped crime rate, it's dropped poverty levels, it's basically stabilized the country and made it flourish into something grand. But the cost is a shitload of people die in order for that to maintain itself. And this happens once every year. So every 364, 365 days, you have this new purge, and it's where everybody just either goes out and kills people, or they lock themselves in so they aren't the ones getting killed. But really, it is the rich picking up the poor, is what it's meant to be. So they lock themselves in. They talk about the purge itself, the family, and the kids hate it. They think it's stupid. They think it's terrible. And you see that when the son lets in this dude that's been injured. He's like, "Oh, help me, help me!" Nobody's listening to him, so he opens it up, and they let him in. And the dad like flips his shit, and then there's this group of people wearing these masks that come up and say, "Hey," and this guy talks in this very creepy but polite tone, and his choice of words, again, polite but in a creepy tone. Um, he basically says, "Okay, we were trying to kill that guy. He got away. Give him to us, or we're gonna go in there and kill all of you." My impression was, okay, even if they hand him over, I have a feeling that he's just gonna kill him just to kill him, because it's like, oh, your front door's opened, and I can get away with killing you. Like, nothing is gonna stop him from just killing everybody in the house. And then Ethan Hawke's like, okay, okay, I'll give him to you. My thought was, okay, even if I open the door and give you this guy, what's to stop you from just killing me? Granted, he has his hands tied, not literally, but it's like, okay, I either do what they say, or they're gonna come in here and kill me, so I can take a chance by giving them what they want, and that's what he tries to do. But they can't find this dude. It is so funny because they cannot. They have this big, huge house, and it's like they don't even know their own home to save their lives. They're looking through it, and they cannot find this guy. But to be fair, the guys outside did cut the power out, which I thought was stupid. Like, why would you cut the power out? Um, it's like, okay, you want them to bring this guy in, but you just cut the power out. I mean, how are they supposed to find him if you've shut the power down? It makes it kind of hard. It makes it really easy for him to stay hidden. But then again, I guess their idea was, either way, as long as we kill somebody, we're fucking happy. Another problem I had with it though is like, okay, one guy got away, big fucking whoop. Go find like another house like full of more homeless people or something. Why does this guy? See, I was thinking this guy did something to them, like he stole from them, or he killed somebody in turn, or he just did something that they didn't like that's making them want to just go after this dude. But they never explain anything about it. It's like they just want to kill him just for the sake of killing someone, when they couldn't kill anyone else and it would have been the same thing. And So anyway, they try to find him, and then eventually, like, they catch him. And then his wife and his kids are like, "Don't do this; it's wrong." And then I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, "Okay, well, you can either all die, or you can take a chance and get rid of, just have him die." And he's trying to fight. He's like, "No, I don't want to die. I ain't dying tonight. Nope, nope, not happening." I don't blame him for that. I'm stuck in a corner more or less. I'm gonna do what I have to do to survive. But Ethan Hawke's character tries saying, like, "Look, it's either you die or we all die. I'm trying to, save as many lives. I'm trying to protect my family." And he kind of comes to reason with it after they kind of torture him a little bit. And then when the dad kind of realized, like, he's just looking at what he's doing, and his wife's like, "Look at yourself, look at what you've done. Is this really right? Is this really how you want to do it?" And I guess he realizes that if he goes through with it, his wife and kids are going to see him as just a complete monster. So he decides to say, "You know what, we're going to fight these guys." Now, my thought process was, okay, you're going to fight them. That's cool. Why don't you get the black dude, untie him, get all the tape off of him, give him a gun, and say, "Look, you can make a stand with us. We can fight and we can survive, or no." Instead, they just leave him there tied up. I'm like, okay, well, so much for that. Because, I mean, they have you outnumbered from the get go. It's just you and your wife, really. Your kids aren't going to know how to use a gun. He probably knows some survival skills and will be able to help out. But no, they just go off. And so Ethan Hawke's character's roaming through. He's picking them off here and there. And these people are stupid, okay? They have no concept that, okay, we're going in here to kill these people, but we're going to do it like a bunch of raving lunatics. And they're fucking loud. They're breaking things. And somehow they still sneak up on the family, which blew my mind. Because when they see, it's like they know the house more than the family does, which I thought was kind of weird. Um, so they run through. There's a big struggle. Ethan Hawke like kills about six of them or something like that. And then he kind of walks in this hallway, gets stabbed, and then this guy gives him the whole like, "Oh, you sacrificed yourself. Oh, I thank you for it." And then that's Ethan Hawke's basically death. And then the family finds him, and they try to like, they're like cuddling up and like, "Oh, I'm sorry," all the lovey-dovey crap. And the guy shows up, and he's like, all of his people are dead. They were killed by Ethan Hawke, and then these other people kind of come in and start picking them all off like nothing, which I thought was just weird. It's like, okay, they just walk in, shoot them, and then walk away, and I just thought that's weird. Like, you know who they are because you saw them in the beginning of the movie, but you're like, okay. These people were completely oblivious to the fact that other people were just walking around, just pang pang, shooting them. And so anyway, that happens. They all huddle up. The guy's about to kill him, and then this blonde chick that you saw earlier, who appears to be like acquaintances, I guess, to the wife, like walks in and says, "Oh, hey, I'm here." And then the wife's like, "Oh, thank you for saving me. Don't thank you for saving me." And she's like, "Oh no, don't thank me. Don't thank me too much now." And she's like, "Oh." And then it turns out they want to kill the family, or they wanted to kill Ethan Hawke's character because they felt like he was exploiting them for their money, for their like exploiting their needs to protect themselves, and then basically showing like how great they are by building this extension of the house. And they point that earlier in the movie, and I could already get vibes like this chick's gonna do something. She's gonna like flip her shit and like just do something. And lo and behold, she does. So anyway, they have a little struggle. Cersei from Game of Thrones is like, "No, don't do this. Don't kill. Don't you fucking touch my kids. Don't you hurt them. If you want to kill somebody, just kill me, but leave them alone." And then she's like, "No, it doesn't work that way. You're all gonna be sacrifices for the greater good," and all this other crap. I'm like, this sounds like a religious, almost cultic type deal. And then the black guy kind of runs in. He kills one dude, knocks another dude out, and says, "Enough. Like, this is over." And then he says, "Untie the family." They untie the family, and he like basically makes sure that they all comply with everything he says. And then they all sit at this table, and it is one of the most awkward things I have ever seen in a movie. It's basically the wife is sitting there, the kids are kind of out to the side, and the black dude's sitting right next to he's standing right behind her, kind of keeping an eye on everybody, and she's just like looking at him like, "Did you have a good time? Did you enjoy yourselves? Do you feel happy now?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, it was a good time. We enjoyed it." There's some things that are said that's kind of exchanged. Like, she's just a complete smartass to him. Cersei from Game of Thrones, that is. And I only call her that because I don't know her actual actress. I think it's like Lena Headey or something like that. I forget the name, but anyway, she just exchanges words with them. Asks one guy like, "Yeah, did you enjoy yourself?" "Yeah, I did." "Okay." And then she looks over at her friend, or her, the blonde chick, and it's like, "Why do you do this? Like, why do you feel the need to do this?" It's like, "We need to release the urge." I'm like, this movie's making it seem like everybody is a murderer. Everybody has a tendency to want to kill somebody. I mean, okay, you have the thoughts in your head like, "Oh my god, I'm so pissed off at them, I could fucking kill them." But you're not literally going to act on that. You're just saying that to add on to the fact that you are pissed at somebody. giving them the indication like I am this mad that I'm gonna say this, but I'm not actually gonna do it. But anyways, so she tries to grab this shotgun that's like laying on the table, and then Cersei Game of Thrones just freaking hits the butt of the gun to her face, and then just slams her head into this glass table. And I was like, oh shit, it's about to go down. And she like gets up, and then Cersei's just like, enough! I said, enough of this. And she's just like, oh, and then she's like, coughing up blood and stuff. I'm like, oh man, she just got fucked up. I thought that was great. That was that part I was talking about earlier. Like, oh my god, that was great. And then okay, and then the siren goes off, and then they all leave. She's like, okay, time's up. Get the fuck out of my house. And then they all just up and leave. The black dude, he walks out, and she's like, wait, are you gonna be okay? Do we need to call you, get you any kind of help? And he's like, nah, I'm fine. See ya, deuces. And so then the movie ends more or less. And see, the reason I'm saying that is because the reason I'm making this video is not to discuss the movie itself, but to discuss its premise and its failure to capitalize on it. Because the premise is all crime is legal, but it seems like everybody just wants to kill everybody. It doesn't seem like they don't want to steal something. They don't want to go find just. I hate to sound. This sounds really sick, but it's just something that can happen in the movie. Like a group of guys just get together, like, all right, we're gonna find the hottest women we can, and we're just gonna bang them. If they don't want it, fine, whatever. We'll force ourselves on them because we can get away with this. And I mean, they don't do any of that. I mean, granted, that would have been even more ballsy than the whole premise they had from the get go. But it would make sense that it would happen. I mean, I could see that logically happening in a time or in a setting like this, or a bunch of guys and gals get together and like, we're just gonna go rob a bunch of rich people. We're gonna go steal all their stuff, maybe kill them, maybe do other things with them. But in the end, all this seems to be about is just murdering people. Like, oh, I have this urge just to kill people. I have to get this urge to kill somebody out of my system. And it doesn't add any complexity to the story. It just makes it a simple, we're going to hole up in the house and get chased by these guys that want to kill us for just because we took one guy that they wanted to kill, instead that, like, oh, he got away, we'll go find elsewhere. I mean, when you're hunting, you're hunting for deer. The deer gets away, okay, you either wait for it to come back or you go find another one. You don't just sit there and like, knock on its door or whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about. This analogy's going nowhere. But that being said, the movie missed its mark. It's basically The Strangers, except set in a dystopian type of setting. Because they wear these masks, and I don't get why they wear these masks. Especially when their leader just basically up and pulls his off and just says, "Hey, I'm this guy." Blah blah blah. It's like, okay, then why are you wearing the mask if you just gave away your own identity? I just don't get the mask at all. And these people, like, I mean, I get that they're supposed to be psychopaths. I get that they may even be drunk or high or whatever. But they just act like complete idiots. Like, they have no survival instincts, it seems like. Like, they want to go kill people, but they don't think about themselves getting killed. They think that I guess they can just walk in and nobody's going to freaking touch them. And and like I said, they weren't being subtle. They weren't being sneaky about it. They were being loud, banging on the walls, beating glass mirrors down, breaking windows, whatever. They were just having a ball, just destroying this house. And so it's like, okay, so our villains are idiots. That's good to know. That gives a good chance for the family to survive, and not so much because the family was just that stupid. Basically, they they turn into these basically helpless little ducklings that get stuck in this corner. It's basically it's cats chasing mice is what it is. So overall, the movie wasn't bad, but again, it missed its mark. And a lot of movies do this, like that the vampire movie where the vampires basically rule the world. It missed its mark. It had a good setting, but it failed so bad to just really make something of it. And thankfully, this one didn't do that. It didn't fail to the degree that one did. I forget the name of that movie. I'm sure someone will post it in the comments and say like, "Oh yeah, it was this movie." But yeah, this one just. It could have been so much more. It could have been really good. It could have been a 2-hour long movie of just chaos and just craziness, but instead it's an hour and a half, basically, home siege. That's the best way to summarize this movie, is that it was a home siege. It was The Strangers meets like Assault on Precinct 1, 2, 3 or something like that. So, I wouldn't recommend seeing it in theaters. It's not worth the $7 or whatever price you pay at your theaters. But by all means, when it comes out on DVD or whatever, knock yourself out, or when the viable pirating editions are out, go for them if that's your thing. But anyways, I'm gonna keep this one about 15 minutes long, so it's getting to that point, and I've kind of made the point that like movies are missing their marks, And I'm just wondering, has anybody else been noticing this? That some movies just kind of miss the mark. They set a good premise, they get a good vibe going with them, and then the previews kind of sell the movie. You go to see it, and then it just turns out it's like, well, this is generic as hell. That's just how I felt about the movie. I'm like, good idea, good premise, just piss poor execution. It was a very bait and switchy type of move on the filmmakers' parts. But anyway, folks, if you've seen it, let me know how you feel about it. If you disagree with me, agree with me, whatever. Leave a comment below, and I will see you all around.